All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. So, we're going to continue on with the series. We're going to talk about critical velocity pace versus tempo run pace versus threshold rep pace. And we're going to base it off 2 mile performance today. Okay. Coach Jason here from Top Line Running. I hope you're doing well. Last week, we did one based on 5K performance. Now we're going to do it based on 2 mile. The next one, we're going to base it off of 1 mile performance. Okay, that was pretty successful last time we did it, so I want to continue on with this series and give you as much insight as possible as I can. So if you're a runner or a coach, your first time here, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content enough to come back. So if you enjoy the content, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I definitely don't want you to miss out on anything. And if you have any questions along the way, you put them right in the comments. There's a reason why I do these live streams, so you can ask the questions you want, and we can dive into something to give you a better understanding. But today we're going to talk about, again, critical velocity versus threshold reps versus tempo runs based on your 2 mile performance. We are going to go from 12 minutes down to 9 minutes. 12, 11:30, 11 minutes, 10:30, 10 minutes, 9:30, 9 minutes. Everything's going to be in slides here in writing. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. But again, this is a conditioning component of VO2 max development, right? Tempo runs essentially are about 80 to 83% of VO2 max. Threshold reps, you say 83 to 86, 87%. And critical velocity, you're looking at 87% to 90% of your VO2 max. So they're all components of your development. You can do them at a faster pace, but they're still initial components before race pace specific stuff at 5K pace, stuff at 3K pace, which is more VO2 max specific in a race specific nature. Okay, and a couple things. We'll get right into this. For the 12-minute 2 mile, okay, tempo runs, we're looking to build it towards 646 to 647 per mile. Okay, and I've got videos on this channel on how to build tempo runs from scratch to 20 to 25 minutes and even 30 minutes. So I would encourage you to take a look at them if you want an idea on how to build. That way you don't have to feel like you have to go out to the door right now and do 20 to 25 minutes at that pace, especially if you're not ready for it. Okay, these are paces you build towards. But the tempo runs will help the threshold reps. They also help the critical velocity reps, which also help the race pace reps. So they're all components of your training that should be incorporated appropriately. Okay, your threshold reps, and I'm using 1K reps and mile reps here. Okay, but more specifically 1K reps, 406 to 407 for 1K reps, 636 to 637 for 1 mile reps, both with a 1 minute recovery. So if let's just say you're doing 6 times 1,000 or 4 times a mile, 1 minute recovery, but they're going to be pretty much the same pace ranges. But you can go from 1K reps to 1,200 meter reps to mile reps if you like. You're just spending more time in the threshold zone. But this is at a slightly faster pace than the tempo, about 10 seconds faster per mile, right? Then if you go down to critical velocity, you're looking at 356 to 357 per 1K reps, 620 to 621 per mile reps. But now you could take about a 200 meter jog recovery, okay, which would be a little bit more than a minute. Okay, like a nice, easy. Sometimes it's 90 seconds, whatever it might be. But in the same type of volume as well. Let's just say you do 5 to 6 times a K at threshold. You can do 5 to 6 times a K at critical velocity, 3 to 4 times a mile, 4 to 5 times a mile at critical velocity. And the beauty about this stuff is you can add speed component on the back end. Let's just say you do 5 times 1,000 at threshold pace. You can do 4 times 200 on the back end for speed development, right? And as a middle distance runner, whether you're training for cross country or track, speed development at the back end of a workout is really, really important. Why? Because it simulates the end of a race when you're going to need to tap into your reserves, tap into the speed you've been developing. Hopefully you've been developing it all year round. In the summer, the off season, speed development's a critical component. During the season, it's a critical component too. It's used a little bit differently, varying per season, but still nonetheless, they're all important. So right back into this. Now we're going to do 11:32 mile. I want you to see the progression from each 30-second increment. I do 30-second increments in the 2 miles, okay? We did 1 minute increments in the 5K. We went, 18 all the way down to 14 minutes? Okay, so I highly encourage you to take a look at those as well. But in this here, you're looking at 631 to 632 per mile for a tempo pace for an 11:32 mile. And this is boys and girls, men and women, okay? Threshold reps, 356 to 357 with a 1 minute recovery, or 621 to 622 per mile with a 1 minute recovery. Okay. Critical velocity, 345 to 346. You're hovering just over 6-minute pace for here for 1K reps. 200-meter jog as well. 603 to 604 per mile. Same thing, 200-meter jog as well. Okay? And it doesn't have to be the same. If you do a 2-minute, if you do a 200-meter jog in a minute, you're basically recovering at 8-minute pace. If you do a 200-meter jog at 45 seconds, you're recovering 6-minute pace. So you can, over time, as you get fitter, learn to recover at a slightly faster pace in your recovery jogs. But in this instance, 200-meter jog, slow, nice and easy is just fine. Okay, particularly since you're running at faster paces along the way here as well. Now, let's get to 11 minutes for the 2 mile. 6:15 to 6:16 per mile for your tempo run. Again, building towards the 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, threshold reps, 347 to 348 per 1K, 605 to 606 per 1 mile reps. Always with the 1-minute recovery. Okay, and critical velocity, you're looking at 335 to 336 for the Ks and 547 to 548 per the mile reps. Okay, that's at 11 minutes for 2 miles. If anybody has any questions, you put them right in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And welcome everybody here. If it's your first time here, welcome. Now, let's go to 10:30. Excuse me. Tempo runs now, you're locking in at pretty much 6-minute pace, 601 to 602 per mile, right? Same distance. Threshold reps, 337 to 338 pace or 550 to 551. You'll notice that the threshold reps will always be about 10 seconds faster per mile for the most part than the tempo runs. Okay? That's a way of distinguishing the differences in the paces and the recoveries that are associated with it. That's why you do the 1-minute recoveries to make it easier to go 10 seconds faster per mile in the threshold reps. This is also a good non-invasive way of doing stuff, especially on race week. If you have a race on a Saturday, this is a good workout to do on a Tuesday. Okay, critical velocity, 325 to 326 per 1K reps, 531 to 532 per mile reps. Okay, and again, the same volume that you do in threshold, you can do at critical velocity. Just a different rest periods associated with each one. Okay, that's 10:30. Now let's go to 10 minutes. Tempo run, 545 to 546 per mile. Locking in there. Threshold reps, 327 to 328 per 1Ks, 534 to 535 per mile. The threshold pace, 1-minute recoveries. Critical velocity, 315 to 316 for 1Ks, 515 to 516 per 1 miles. Okay, you see the progression get faster from tempo to threshold to critical velocity. You can incorporate this as you see fit, but these are all important things to incorporate into the training for VO2 max development. Okay, and this doesn't matter whether you're training for cross, the 800, the mile, middle distance doesn't matter. This will serve you everywhere. Okay, now 9:30 for 2 miles, 529 to 530 per mile is your tempo pace. Okay, about a minute slower, something like that, or 45 seconds slower per mile than what you're averaging for the 2 mile. So if 9:30, you're looking at 4:45, you had 45 seconds per mile, you're at tempo pace. Okay, that's an easy way to calculate it. Threshold reps, 319 to 320 per 1K is 519 to 520 per 1 mile reps. You're basically locking in 79, 80 seconds per lap on an outdoor track, 40 seconds on an indoor track per lap. Critical velocity, you're hovering around 5 minutes per mile. 306 to 307 per 1K reps, 5 minutes to 501 for your 1 mile reps. Okay, that's critical velocity pace. And lastly, 9-minute 2 mile, which is 430 per mile. Okay, tempo run, 513 to 514 per mile, just around 45 seconds slower per mile than what you're averaging for the 2 mile. Okay, threshold reps, 308 to 309, which is essentially just over 5-minute pace, and then 503 to 504 per mile. All these associated with 1-minute recovery. And you can progress, like I said, you can even alternate. Tempo 1 week, threshold 1K reps. Then tempo week 3, threshold 1,200 meter reps week 4. Tempo week 5, mile reps, threshold week 6. That's a nice 6-week cycle of alternating tempo and threshold. You'll be shocked at how much fitness you'll gain in that cycle alone. And you can incorporate some speed development on the back end of it. Okay, critical velocity here, 255 to 256 per 1K rep and 443 to 444 per mile for 1 mile reps. Okay, and that's again at a 9-minute 2 mile. So these are the paces for tempos, for thresholds, for critical velocity. I wanted to break this down so you could see it. It's up to you to decide how you want to incorporate it into the training. You can take a look at some of my training plans here. I've got track, I've got cross country, and then my next thing we're going to do is we're going to do critical velocity, tempo, and threshold based on your 1 mile performance. We're going to go from 6 minutes all the way down to 4 minutes. 6 minutes, 5:40, 5:20, 5 minutes, 4:40, 4:20, 4 minutes. And again, you can see how it's different from these and how similar it is. Okay, so and where it equivalates to 5K and 2 mile performance. That's why I'm doing all 3 distances and the paces associated with them. Okay, and then I'm going to do a fall cross country plan for high school and a fall cross country plan for college. Okay, that's going to be the next series of videos, and that'll all be done before cross country season starts. Obviously, it'll be the next couple of weeks. I want you to be able to dissect them in any way you want, turn them into your own any way you want, ask questions any way you want. Okay, but these are the paces right here based on 2 mile performance today. Okay, for critical velocity, threshold, and tempo. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them now. I'm more than happy to answer. Okay, and here's just gonna plug in my address here. Okay, this is my address. If anybody has questions for me, anybody wants me to help dissect their training and so on and so forth, feel free. blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. That's my direct email. Again, blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. So I am a running coach, and I have multiple black belts in martial arts. So that's why hence the email. Easy to remember. Okay. So again, anybody has any questions? Okay, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you for joining me, and I appreciate your support. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. Share this with other runners that you might know, with other athletes and coaches that you might know that you think might benefit from this. Okay, and if you're not following me on TikTok, please follow me on TikTok. Access to Coach is my email. My profile. Here, I'll write this down too. Access to Coach. This is my TikTok. Okay. That's my TikTok account. So I appreciate you there as well. And actually, I've got 17,000 followers on TikTok. I'm going to try to get past 10,000 in this channel here. So your support really means the world. It really does. And anybody else's support really means the world. It's helpful in the channel. It's helpful in the algorithm. And hitting the like button is also helpful too. So I thank you so much for it. But hope you're having a great summer. Hope your training is going well. Okay. And I break things down a little bit differently on the TikTok account. I do it mostly daily there as well. So feel free to reach out. I got a lot of content on TikTok too. But if you have questions about this video or any one of the videos here on this channel, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, I can go over any one of them if you like. And we have upwards of 600 videos here. Okay, this is all from 2 decades plus experience as a former competitive runner and a coach. And I've done all the levels: high school, college, and post-college. Competed and coached. I'm also USATF certified. I'm also Wharton trained and certified musculoskeletal and flexibility therapist and active isolated stretch flexibility. You ever heard of Jim and Phil Wharton, the rope stretches, the guys that pioneered it? I worked with those guys I studied under them for like a decade. So I was at the Olympic trials with them. We did a lot of great things together. I'm fortunate enough to have learned from them. And I'm fortunate enough to have learned from some of the best coaches around the world. So I'm forever grateful for that too. But go enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great rest of your summer. Talk to you next time.